So, if you are interested in the world of personal finance, budgeting specifically, there's a good chance you've heard of the 50/30/20 budget. So, real quick, if you're not familiar with it, basically, this is sort of a general breakdown of what a lot of people recommend you to budget your money with. So, 50% of your money goes to your needs. Then they say 30% of your money goes to your wants. And then 20% of your money goes towards saving. So let's break this down a little bit, right? So 50% of your money, so half of your income goes towards your needs. So what are your needs? We're talking about rent, insurance, groceries, phone bill, internet, utilities, like gas for your car, like health insurance, car insurance, all the things that you have to pay for every month. That's what's included in your needs. So, as a general rule, again, they say 50% of your income should go towards all these needs. And again, this is all just stuff that you have to pay for every single month in order to basically function and live, a normal quote unquote life. I'm not saying extravagant, that's not going out to eat and doing all that kind of stuff. It's just like putting food in your body, paying your bills so you can get to and from work, and so you have like a roof over your head and clothes on your back, and that's really it. That's what your needs are. So then 30%, according to this, goes towards your wants. So this is more of discretionary spending. So maybe for traveling or going out to eat with friends or going out to the bar on the weekends, or buying video games, or maybe you're buying something that you've been wanting to get for a while, like an Apple Watch, or I don't know, anything that's extra spending that you don't necessarily need in order to survive, but it's something that you want, and therefore you spend the money to get it. So that's where 30% of your money goes based on this budget. And then finally, the third and last category is for saving. So, according to this budget, 20% of your money should be going towards savings, most likely a retirement account, whether that's a 401k or a Roth IRA, or even just like a regular savings account or a brokerage account where you can invest your money, some sort of savings that you could fall back on, either now or at some point in the future, most likely when you retire. So that is the 50/30/20 budget. And I want to dive into this a little bit and talk about it because there's a few things that I'd like to discuss. So, number one, I don't think this budget is realistic anymore. Um, you know, I'm in my mid 20s, not making a crazy amount of money, but I think 50% of your income is just not realistic, especially for younger people who are still in their 20s, still kind of working their way up in their career, or still maybe even figuring out exactly what they want to do. Maybe they're working, an entry level job. I feel like, I don't know, at least in my experience and, some of the people that I've spoken to, and quite frankly, some of the people that I know how much they're making, living off of 50% of your income is just not feasible. Like, people are struggling to live off of 100% of their income. Like, they're going further and further into debt every single month. And that's not to say that all they're paying for is their necessities. I'm sure if they budgeted down to the bare bones, they could probably survive off of their full income. There's probably some extra spending in there, which is, directly correlates with them going further into debt. But still, the point is, I don't think living off of 50% of your income, as far as needs go, is necessarily realistic. Like, I know people whose rent is more than half of the income that they bring in. Now, you might make the argument, well, maybe they should make more money or find a cheaper place. That's true, but it's also a lot easier said than done. People are, they're working with what they got right now. It's a tough job market. It is, relatively expensive to find housing in the U.S. depending on where you're living, and even the process of getting a new job or moving, like, that costs money, or getting a new job, maybe you might be without money for a week or two. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. Again, it's a lot easier said than done. And another thing that I want to talk about is, someone's needs who, let me rephrase this, someone who has a lot of minimum monthly payments on maybe, their car, as well as credit cards, as well as student loans, their needs are going to be a lot higher than someone who is debt free. So that 50% number can be kind of tough to go by, or maybe it's not the correct number for you based on your financial situation. Again, whether or not you're in debt is a key factor there, but also like where you live and whether or not you have a roommate and how much money you make. So all these things play a role. So then the question becomes, if the 50% of your budget is not enough to cover your needs, where do you take from? Well, I think you got to find the money somewhere. So you either make more money or you cut your needs back, but ultimately you got to cut back from the wants. So that 30% wants, honestly, in my opinion, I think that's a little high, at least for my comfort. I'm much happier in like that 10 to 15%, where I'd rather be paying about 50% of my income towards my needs and then maybe spending 10 to 15% on my wants and then saving and investing like 30 to 40%. That investing number at 20%, while it's the bare minimum, I don't think it's enough if you really want to get ahead in life. Like if you're really trying to become financially independent and make shit happen in your life, 20% of your money, or some people even say 15%, like I just don't think it's enough. I don't think you're going to get where you want to go fast enough. And you're just going to end up living that normal life where you work for 40 years and you retire at 65 and then you finally get to enjoy yourself. I don't know, man. That's just not for me. I don't want to do that. I'd rather bust my ass and sacrifice now so that way I can have the option to at least retire early. I'm not saying I necessarily will, but the option to retire early, I don't know. It gives me a peace of mind. It gives me some comfort knowing that that's what I'm chasing and that's what I want to go after. But that's just me. Like some people would be comfortable with working, 40 years a 9 to 5 and then retiring when they're 65. Like some people are comfortable with that lifestyle. I'm not though. I want more for myself. I want something different. I don't want to live that cookie cutter lifestyle. And quite frankly, you know, struggle and I'd rather struggle trying to get somewhere that I want to go rather than just being comfortable and content knowing that I'm not genuinely happy in that situation. Like I'd rather struggle chasing something big than just cruise, but know that I'm not going to get anywhere exceptional, if that makes sense. Um, so, in my opinion, I think your needs are your needs. You have to pay for rent and food and clothes and insurance and all that kind of stuff. But I think if you flip the order to taking care of your needs and then taking care of saving and investing and then use what's left over for your wants, I think that's a formula that ultimately is going to lead you to a lot more success and happiness and prosperity in life versus taking care of your needs, then, spending money that you want and then saving and investing. I think that's where the main problem comes in with this sort of formula and this plan for budgeting is it prioritizes needs, wants, then saving. I think it should be needs, saving, then wants, or better yet, saving, needs, wants. So if you can prioritize saving and investing with every paycheck and just pay yourself first rather than paying everyone else first, I mean, the math adds up. You're going to end up improving your financial situation, whether that's paying off debt or putting money aside for an emergency fund or building up your investment portfolio. Like pay yourself first. Stop paying the car dealership and the student loan provider and your credit card company. Stop paying them first. Pay yourself first and then pay them after. You deserve the money more than them. Now, that's not to say give yourself all the money and don't make those payments. Obviously, you still need to make those payments. You took out that money or those loans or you ran up that credit card. So you still have to pay it off. I'm just saying to pay yourself first, then pay all that stuff off. And chances are you just won't have as much money left over to spend on your wants. But shit, that's your fault. If you wanted to take out all these loans and run up credit cards, now you're suffering the consequences. So bust your ass, get out of debt, and then you'll have some money to spend on yourself. So yeah, I know I kind of threw a lot at you guys there. A little bit of a rant that turned into actually. But yeah, this budget is pretty common. A lot of people recommend it. I just think that the priorities and the order of which the categories of needs, wants, and savings, I think it's a little messed up. I have found success in prioritizing saving, investing, and paying myself first, and I think you all will too. So that's really what I wanted to talk about on this video, is just, how I ultimately pay myself first rather than paying everyone else. And I feel like I'm in a pretty good position for someone in my mid 20s. I have a pretty solid net worth. I'm debt free. I live out on my own. I own my car. So I don't know. I feel like it's worked for me. So I wanted to share it with you guys, and I hope you learn something from this and it benefits you. So yeah, that's everything I got for you guys today. If you are new here, I post every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, and then on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern time, I post all kinds of content about personal finance, budgeting, investing, just life experiences in general, anything I feel like talking about. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as a matter of fact, do me a favor, if you're watching this and you'd like to, comment down below. Let me know how you guys budget. What do you base your budget off of? What do you prioritize? What do you take care of first? Just tell me about it. I'm curious to know. So yeah, I appreciate you guys checking in with me today, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.